What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So I got a bunch of copper wire for free. So basically we're doing some Grainger showrooms, and the electrician came in and had to hack out a bunch of wires from, this is from a commercial building too, so some of these are quite beefy. So he cut them all out, and I asked him, are you taking those? And he was like, no, I'll give them to you if you want. I was like, yes. He even like wrapped them up nicely for me. I was like, oh yeah, I'll take them. So I got one of these. You can hook up a drill to it. It's got a cutter wheel, like a copper pipe cutter, and then another wheel at the bottom that kind of forces the wire into a track. So I've been messing around with this. You've got to get the wire to feed in from the bottom of the wheel and curl itself around the wheel. If you come in from the top, it'll skip out of the track. So you have to adjust this plate up or down depending on the wire size. And you got to get it just right. And you also have to get the tension just right. And once you have it, also you need to tighten this lock nut, even just by hand. But if you don't tighten that lock nut and do all those steps, the wire will skip off of that track and it will stop cutting every single time. So there is a little bit of a, I would say, a learning curve to this little wire stripper for 80 bucks on Amazon. But I'm telling you, this thing saved a lot of time. So I also grabbed another crucible, so I don't have to keep mixing metals in the same crucible, because I know it's not good to do that. So I ordered the same one I ordered last time. I just clicked reorder, but this one came with some sort of black coating on the outside, which, you know, the other one, as soon as you grab it, your hands turn black from the graphite coming off, but this one seems to have an extra sealant layer on the outside. It's not on the inside, just on the outside. You can kind of see it right there where they stopped. But yeah, so I gotta fire that tomorrow anyway. So I mean, while I have the forge out, we might as well strip down the copper wire and get it ready. Alright, so I had a bunch of stranded wire yesterday, and this will do stranded wire, but it's not as nice as solid wire. It's a little more of a pain with stranded. That's a beautiful thing. And you gotta be careful with your fingers. If you're grabbing onto the wire, when this thing pulls, it'll pinch your fingers right at the beginning, so hold the wire back here a little bit. I've learned quickly. Once you get it started, done. So the electrician put all of the wires into a 5-gallon bucket like this, and it was full to the top, but it was not like, it wasn't jam-packed. It was just thrown in there. It, you know, it was about a full bucket, but not like really packed. And that's what it looks like after I stripped it. This was all gonna go into the trash. Otherwise, straight into the trash. I also grabbed a bunch of these solid brass floor plates. they're at the bottom. So here's the stranded wire. And I think this is going to be a bit of a pain to get into the crucible, especially once the forge is red hot. So I'm thinking about taking some of the solid wire and wrapping it around the stranded wire and making small bundles that I'll be able to just drop right in there. All right, they're all bundled up. I did some smaller bundles and some big starter bundles. But this stranded wire, the only problem with this stuff is as it goes through that stripper, it breaks all the little fibers. And then you end up with a bunch of that. It's all over the place. And they're like little needles. So I had to use gloves and twist these up into balls and sweep up all the stuff that fell off. So look at that. There actually looks like there's more in the bucket now than when it was covered in insulation. God. It really did not look, it didn't look like that much wire. But it looks like a lot of wire now. Alrighty, so I just baked the crucible in the oven at 400 degrees for 1 hour, like it said on the packaging. And now my entire house smells like clay. It's pretty gross. So definitely do it in the summertime when you can open the windows. I wouldn't do it in the wintertime. Probably not a good idea. Some borax. Mostly, or only copper. I've got to heat it up to the temperature that I'll be melting copper. So I'm gonna go a little bit hotter, like 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. Once that borax finishes melting, then that's enough wasting gas for me. Get some copper in it. Nice starter wad. So, Mr. Electrician, if you're watching, this is what you are about to throw into the trash, right here. Looks a little different when it's in bar form. I bet you if this was sitting on the ground and I came up to you and said, hey, are you taking that? You'd have been like, yep, that's mine, I'm taking it. It was good. I mean, I've never melted wires before this, so this was definitely, it was nice to see, you know, a bucket of wires turn into this. And it didn't look like that much. It really didn't. It didn't look like that much. But I mean, at today's price, I mean, this is like 60 bucks. You're just gonna chuck in the garbage. And then there was also about 3 pounds of brass, those little cover plates. But unfortunately, my grinder is at Grainger in the showroom on the floor somewhere. I left it there by accident, so I still need to grind these down, get all the little hangy bits off, just make them smooth. I don't need to polish them, but I just want them to be smooth and somewhat shiny so it looks like brass, copper. But yeah, it's definitely, I would check next time. You know what I mean? That little bit of wire, I would even just bring it home, throw it in a bin, and then get one of those little $80 stripping machines, you know, a couple nights after work, have a drink, strip some wire for a little bit, and then if you get a forge, you know, every once in a while on a weekend, you go fire it up, make as many bars as you can, and then stack them. So I got 88 pounds now. After I add this to the pile, we will have 88 pounds of copper and about 37 pounds of brass in the stockpile. So yeah, I definitely think it's worth it, Mr. Electrician, you know? Just sit on it. Sit on it until you get good and old. And then when you retire, or just whenever you need it when you get older, you cash it in, and then you got money for diapers and insure. So at least you'd be good there. So anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Make sure you subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Diapers and insure.